Ever since the first gaming consoles came into being, there has been a war. Not just between the platform holders and the video game publishers that support them, but between the fans too. It wages across school playgrounds, internet forums, and social media. Endless wars and constant comparisons between the platforms, the games, and development teams result in a permanent tug of war for one platform holder to come out on top, bringing their dedicated fan base glory and victory. But in reality, no one has ever been able to truly win. Until now. This is Console Wars, the card game. Now you and your friends can fight on the front lines, battling for incredible franchises and intellectual property, exclusivity, and eventual victory. Collect incredible video game franchises. Protect them with loyal and dedicated fans. Brave the volatile video game industry. Claim the ultimate victory in the console wars. Your platform holder needs you. Enlist today on Kickstarter.
Hi everyone. This was a moment, right? Hi Jesse.
It was great for a second.
Admit,
I don't know why. We're here now, though. They can see us.
Yeah,
John.
I'm freaking out.
John, what's that in your background that's been there for weeks?
Well, I kind of figured I'd have to do a Phil Spencer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there she blows, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just been there for many, many weeks now. Like, what, 3 or something?
Yeah, we got the prototypes back about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I've had it on the shelf since then. It is gorgeous, right? And this is just the prototype, right? So there's more to come. But if you open it up, I'm doing a little unboxing here. You got a 2-sided manual, explains all the rules, and then obviously you have all of the cards. And we'll talk about some cards on stream. Because why not? There is some funny stuff. But we're here as a Q&A, right? This is a big undertaking. And I want to stop for a second because before we get into details, because there's some people that need to be massively thanked. First on the list, Pre-Drag. You guys saw that trailer. Like, that trailer, to me, was like visually comparative to anything else that you might see on a game show. Like, that absolutely slapped, and it was just for a card game. And I loved watching the reaction as we kind of visually put this together. Like, oh, well, why don't we have ourselves flowing through TV screens, but they're displaying our parody names, because obviously, yes, we don't want to be sued. And Pre-Drag just took it and made it absolutely incredible. And it was fun watching you guys in the chat being like, what is this? So many close guesses. Zach Riley, got to shout you out. Are you making a board game? You came so close, right? Like, but it wasn't. You didn't know it was Console Wars, and that's fine. But yeah, Pre-Drag is amazing. Another big shout out to the incredible voice talent of Abubakar Salim. Thankfully, the team here at XboxEra will only ever hear my cheesy American version. That will stay that way internally. But he was amazing. I pinged him. We're not a big company, and I said, "Hey, Abu, you're a voice actor. I'm just trying my luck here." And he looked at it. I walked him through what the game was, and he was blown away. And he said, "Yes." And he pinged me the voice. And he gave us a couple of takes. And he made the trailer what it is. It's incredible. And obviously, there's all of the family and friends that came around to help film all the fun bits. Big shout out as well to Kat Morton and Roman Fairbrother, the younger lad that you saw in the video. His acting skills, impeccable. But yeah, all of those people that helped do this absolutely rock. And I'm not sure if he wants me to shout him out because I'm hesitant, but Press Engine, which is a PR company that helps video game launches. Gareth at Press Engine has been incredibly helpful in helping us spread the word on this. Unbeknownst to you lot, we've pinged websites and companies around the world. And Jesse, you've been sitting here watching this quietly come together for the last 4 or 5 weeks, like really come together. We've been working on this since last year.
It had been an idea, but then was like, and then all these things happened, and then Gamescom just happened to start up a board and card game area. So us, not having much money, but thankfully Pre-Drag making it look like we do, decided to spend money we don't have, which is why I kept joking that the $8,000 target for Gamescom was not all of it anymore, by a long shot.
Yep.
We have our own booth at Gamescom where you can come and see the game, try it out. You can see our shirts. We have a merch store for the shirts. We need to actually push that. What's the link? Put it in chat, John. I demand it.
Well, with the merch store, you can just go to Console Wars Game, consolewarsgame.com. You've got a merch store. I hope you enjoyed the tease of me wearing one of the IPs for the last few weeks as well.
And hopefully people understand why we did so many teases. I know they can be annoying at times, but this is incredibly important for the future of the site. If this can do really well, it can help us out. So we don't have to keep begging for Patreon as often. But even still, if you do like us and want to see more this type of dumb shit, go to patreon.com/XboxEra. And we had a super chat early on.
I've just seen it, yes.
Early on, we had one from Torn Raptor before we even started.
Yeah. Imagine the Balatro guy making a video game of this. Now, on that... 10%
funded.
What? 10% already, mate? Amazing. You guys are amazing. I'd love to see a digital version of this. Let's see what happens, folks. Like, it's really all down to the community. Over the last few weeks, I've been sharing the idea with game designers, friends at different studios, industry contacts and peers. And the reaction I've had from every single one is, this is fucking brilliant. And that you can't always just take that feedback on board. But you live in hope, right? But I think I saw the chat. Yeah, there were a few usual suspects of just console warriors in there, but that's the irony of it. Seeing console warriors react because it's XboxEra announcing it. But this is a Q&A, so I'm keeping an eye on chat. But I'm going to say you don't have to super chat. I'm going to prioritize super chats, but ask questions.
We will prioritize patrons. If you're a patron, definitely answer.
Or a YouTube member.
Try to get to everyone if you're a patron or member. And most of you are members, thanks to that man in chat, Torn Raptor, who's up unbelievably late. Hi, Torn.
Yeah. Torn is up. What is it? It's got to be 5 a.m. or something. The premiere was 2 a.m. Melbourne time. So, Torn, thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, Melbourne is like 12. It's 14 hours ahead of me. So it's always add 12 plus 2 onto AM to PM or PM to AM.
Yeah. I got another super chat from Ursel, one of our fellow XboxEra staffers. Let's goddamn go. Finally revealed. Thanks, Ursel.
Been a while.
Idle Sloth in the chat. Well done on the launch. Thank you very much. And thanks to everyone for showing up. It's been a journey. I didn't cry this time. Like for the Kickstarter launch for the book, I had a good cry at the relief because I think that was just particularly stressful, and obviously I was going through some stuff. But yeah, this has been pretty smooth sailing so far. So yeah, fire questions away. What do you want to see? I've got the deck in front of me. If people want to see, do you want to see the someone's called it on Twitter the Tim Dog card. I can see if I can find it. I'll show you this one. This one's one of my favorites. This is internally, and I hope this is focusing. Let me check StreamYard and make sure this is.
It's not.
This is
now. It is. Oh, a little back.
There you go. Internally, XboxEra, known as the Microsoft card, the PR blunder card, and the fun pun. And yes, I've written every single fun pun, so apologies in advance. I am British. We've made a right mess of this console launch. Always online, digital rights management. What were you thinking? You might have alienated an entire fan base with this move. That's always a fun one. Like, show us your deck, sick. That is a filthy thing to say. But I suppose it's helpful for me to explain how the game works. There is a video that you can watch how to play.
Mm.
And there's we're going to do some live streams when the guys are here in a couple of weeks before we head out to Gamescom. But the nutshell is you battle for famous video game IPs. Yes, we've used parodies for every single one because no, we do not wish to be sued into oblivion by any of the big three, although, we're pushing it on some of them. So let's see if we get any cease and desist emails anytime soon. But it is, as far as I'm aware, and every research bit I did, parodies all good.
Yeah.
So you battle for IPs and you fight over fan base, right? So you can think of your fan base kind of protecting your IPs. The more fans you have, the more secure you are. But you can do all sorts of things to each other. And throughout play, you're trying to make as many genre sets of IP as you can. So first-person shooters, platformers, sandbox games, you name it. We've covered a lot. And you'll fight, and as soon as you've got 4 complete sets, you're the winner. The interesting thing about console wars and the gaming industry as we know it is it's a volatile place, especially at the moment. So we have something called market condition cards, and they do all sorts of things, but they affect all players. So one card might make you have to give up half of your fan base. So you might be way out in front, and suddenly you're kind of like middle of the pack again. But the people that have had less have only lost less, so it changes things up. Players have next gen console perks, so you can have like rollback netcode for your fighting games, and if you've got all the fighting game sets, you can earn more fans through having a better game as you release new games, and that's how you earn fans. My favorite market condition card, and we've built the deck under the hopes that this will be fully launched and fully funded. The original game is only 155 cards. We're obviously hoping we can flesh this out and with the community reach all of our stretch goals. But this is one of the stretch goal cards, which is the press sneak fuck card. And the joke on here is, I don't know who that guy looks like. I don't know what you might think. But it's pesky video game journalists have discovered all of your game launch plans before you're ready. All players must show their entire hand to everybody else for 30 seconds. So there's all sorts of stuff in this to kind of mix it up and make it difficult. Have we got any questions in chat?
We have a super chat from Mohammed Sherez.
I respect the bravery and genius of this move. Personally, to me, it's out of the box, but all the best of the team backed it. Who designed it? So yeah, the game design was mine. It's actually, I'll be up front. I play a lot of card games, a lot of board games, as I said in the Kickstarter trailer, inspired by lots of, commonplace card games that I played. And the frustrating thing with card games and card game mechanics is they're all very similar. So you kind of just have to chart your own path and pick the ones you really like and kind of give them a twist of your own. So there's bits of Exploding Kittens in here. There's bits of Doomlings, there's bits of Monopoly Deal. There's lots of little elements, but I'm playtesting it over the last 6 months, even from the beginning and I've been teasing this on stream since Christmas. It's my hand painted deck. So this is the deck that I drew with Sharpies. It's got all the cards on there, like you can port beg. This was the original playtest deck that we built. And we had multiple playtest sessions here at home to kind of get the game as it wanted to be. Okay. We've got a couple of questions here. Selfish Burrito, Jesse, you got to take me through your mindset journey through this process. How did it feel for you? That's a good question. Like from being on the outside of me just saying, we're doing this crazy thing.
It was pretty much I hope it pays off, especially as it keeps getting more and more expensive. Because we are, as we've said before, I know pre-drag really ruins it for us by being so good, but we don't have any budget. We don't have money behind us. We're one of the few things that are independently owned and don't have like a Valnet or a Future behind us. So it was very much in that, well, I'm just going to double down and try and keep making as much content for the site as I can. Because I'm not working on this at all. But Jon and pre-drag, it's the majority of your time the last few weeks especially has been trying to get all of this lined up for the launch. So on.
Yeah, it's stressful. And it's worth mentioning, like we have an open PayPal donation link. Like at the moment, I'd rather you back the Kickstarter, but if you want to donate to help our Gamescom fund, it has just grown a little bit in terms of expense because of the booth. So I won't complain. I'm just looking through because I'm seeing some of the questions come through from Jesse and who's marking them for me in the chat. So I'll try and cover off a lot of these. Jordan White, any plans on making this a mobile app? I'm not trying to rush you guys, but maybe an enthusiastic fan listening might be able to help in the future. So like we recognize the value in the fact that we've developed a game. Yes, it's a physical card game, but I love playing card games even on console, and multiplayer sounds great. So this is trademarked. I can't say too much, but I am at Gamescom with a card game that I think is a really good idea. And if this takes off, if this goes viral, if it gets loads of coverage, maybe I'll end up having some conversations out there. Let's see and let's find out.
We're very much in the let's really hope this gets backed. And then maybe goes beyond that. We're a little over 10% of the way so far. Hopefully it keeps going. Who knows?
Yeah.
It will be pretty important to the future of the site if it can take off at all. Like it would really give us a bit of a financial cushion we've never had. Because like we're still not at the point where two of us can work here full time and be paid.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
What else we got? Part 2 of Selfish Burrito a couple of weeks ago. No, it's a fun side thing was proven. And I looked at it and thought, no, I did not say fun side thing.
It's a very to him yesterday. Thing. It was not.
Proven perhaps wasn't in on the ground floor with all of the news. Radosky, is there a leaker insider card ruining the show? It's funny you mentioned that. I'm there's 165 cards here in front of me, so I am flicking through the deck trying to find everything. Come on, it's got to be in here somewhere.
Goddamn cat. My computer friggin' temperature started shooting up, and I look, and of course he's lying on top, and he knocked the fan off. It's like, of course I can't get him to stop. I might have to kill him. God. Well, first of all, I'll show this one. I will come to it. There is an insider card. It's got a picture of like a spy on it. I'm just going to get my assistant to try and find the card. This is the exclusive Kickstarted card that backers get. This is brutal. So this was like, what can we give backers that really makes the game even more vicious? Because a lot of people like collaborative card games. I like bants-filled combative card games, right? So this... you might be way ahead and have 400 million in fans, right, protecting your IPs. This allows the player that plays it against you to swap their fan base with yours. It is mean. Evil.
Because you could suddenly be like, you've only got 10 million fans. And if you have no fans and people start, releasing new games and stealing fans from you and you haven't got the fans to give, you have to start giving them IPs. And that is not how you win. There's the fanboy loyalty card. And it says the pun on here is these social media console warriors do count for something after all. For all the Xbox fans out there, there's the marketing maestro card. There's an ad on the side of a bus. This allows you to double the fans you earn when you release a new game. So it's all good fun on that front. And we have the classic PlayStation card here, 4K remastered. The joke here is, why worry about making something new? Just remaster the game you already remastered last generation and be done with it. The fans love it. So there's lots of jokes in here. Another very favorite card, Horse Armor. So this is a wild card. It can be it can help add itself to any IP genre set. So you can add it into FPS or add it into anything else. There's all sorts of jokes in here. And I don't want to ruin the jokes that we've got so far because, like, I want people to kind of discover these organically. So I don't want to like fully show everything. What else have we got? Torn Raptor. Outside the Kickstarter relief, is there a thought on further release, and where would you likely sell? Specialized websites or bigger retailers? I'll give you an anecdote that really started setting us off and thinking that we were onto something amazing here. I won't mention the company, but ringing around for production quotes to try and find out, hey, how much is this going to cost us to make? Like, we don't know. And I rang one in the US and they answered, and I'm chatting away to them for 40 odd minutes. And at the end, they went, oh, I don't know if you know this, I'm the CEO of this company. And I just like British accents. So I saw it was a UK number calling and I picked up the phone. And amusingly, they were very positive. There's like really good pitch. I will get you into Walmart. I'll get you into Target. So yeah, retail is absolutely something we'd seek to explore. Obviously, there's lots of great board game partners and stuff out there. The primary focus right now is let's get this Kickstarter backed, and let's get it backed and then some. Like the biggest Kickstarter game in the world is Exploding Kittens. It was basically Russian roulette, right? This is more fun. So back this more, nerds, all right? Because, who wants to explode kittens? Not I, sir. There's the insider card. It is there. You can play the insider card. That allows you to look at the next 3 cards in the deck, so ahead of another player. So you can kind of get a heads up on what another player will have.
Surprised Nick didn't demand that to look like him.
We went with a spy motif. But there you go. What else have we got, Jesse? Got other questions? I fear I'm talking too much.
It's all in your Discord.
I know. I thought I'd let you read them because then it feels like I'm not talking constantly. We got up to Torn Raptor. So you're Peter Staub now, I believe.
Peter Staub, is the art and design final?
Yes, for the most part. There's obviously, it's all in English, right? So we need to think about
I just saw a
languages
held for review comment. That's why you should never suck Microsoft's balls. You'll go bankrupt, Britain.
Glad to see Console Warriors are in the chat. Yeah, so it is pretty close. Like the box may become a little deeper because one of the Kickstarter tiers is we do a separate DLC pack of IP cards, because I recognize I feel I've been pretty like broad with the IPs that I've kind of selected to be in the game. But I fully recognize that the people will be screaming out, why isn't there more RPGs? Why aren't there puzzle games? Why aren't there more indies? So by doing a DLC pack, you'll be able to kind of swap in and out different IPs, like the games you love, or the parody versions of them, and kind of customize your deck a little bit. So there's a bit of art and design still to do there, because the primary goal was this one. But it's very, very close. So the box just might come a bit bigger, a bit deeper, but not by much, just to allow for those cards to also ship in one container, because we don't want to ship multiple things to you.
Is everything in the merch store all we have, or is there more?
There's a link at the bottom with some more. I've not been thoroughly impressed with Teespring's abilities.
Yeah, this thing's some of the best ones. Like Mood. No Mood.
Mood should be on there. Has it disappeared again?
It's not on there.
I've put it on there like 5 times.
Nope.
I really, really dislike Teespring store. It breaks constantly. We'll see if we can get it back on there, but it should be around.
It's just
what else have we got?
Bastards.
Damn it. That's something to fix for me later on tonight. Bloody Teespring.
Yeah, see, like there's just a regular old Console Wars shirt. Now, you got to go deep in to find some of this stuff, but even then, it's missing some. Makes me sad.
Yeah. There are categories at the top, but we'll see if we can add the Mood T-shirt back in. That's going to make certain folks in the team very sad, because it's one of the best ones, I think. What else we got, Jesse? What other questions we got?
After Peter, we have Cypher Type 1. Were there times when a real news article would drop and you would play the related card to the team?
No, a lot of the wider team haven't seen a lot of this. We've kept this pretty, because trying to run the website at the same time with all of this and the planning, Gamescom, and then the booth, it got very crazy. So a lot of the planning and stuff hasn't been team wide, but certainly in play testing, we would get ideas from current events, like all of the video game firings and horrible stuff like that. We've got the market crash condition cards, and there's obviously a pun at publishers' expense, because it's like, yep, they're firing everyone, but they're keeping all the money. Funny that, so there's lots of in-jokes from current events. Like, I think you'll recognize the references for every single action card in the game easily. I can see Scarlet Scarab in the chat. Inside a leaker card would be cool. Yeah, we've covered that one. There is one. Next question on that one.
Next one would be. I just tabbed out for a second. Question from Mohammed Sherez. Are you afraid the niche of parodying the console wars might impede the game from seeing more general play?
I'm not concerned. I actually thought the niche was a strength. If I look at it, there are some really big card games out there. Card games are extremely popular. Like one of the biggest Kickstarter projects ever backed was a card game, right? $8.3 million. Do I think we're going to see that kind of success? I have no idea. Probably not, right? But that was just Russian roulette as a card game. Not to disparage it, Exploding Kittens is an awesome game. I backed that. That was one of my first Kickstarters when it first launched. But card games, I would wager to you that board game players probably play a lot of video games. And I would say that anyone that plays video games that is also a card and board game player probably in some form knows about the ridiculousness of console wars in some degree. And at the end of the day, you are just, we remember it from when we were kids. Anyone like Nintendo versus Sega, like you're going to remember the war. And this is a way to play that. And there are obviously lots of references to all the major platform holders in there. So I'm not concerned about the niche being a limitation. I actually think it's a little bit of a strength. But again, we'll see. I might be wrong. Please don't be wrong. Thanks, Mohammed. What have we got next?
Torn Raptor question. I think you said you have been playtesting. What have you found to be a rough standard game time being?
When we were first playtesting, a lot of my handwritten cards had like a vague rule on it, like, hey, you do this, but we really had to refine the rules. So initial playtest, we were getting a 5-player game lasting over an hour, right? Which is not where we wanted to be. Once we got the prototypes through, we held several more sessions over 4 days. A lot of games were played, and the average time was between 30 to 45 minutes. There are ways it can go a little bit longer, but 30 minutes is the average. If you want a shorter game, though, you just simply make the winning scenario slightly less by limiting it to three genre sets to win. But we also have an alternate game mode, which we call Console Wars Frenzy, which alters some of the rules. It's in the rule book. And that one, you pick up 2 cards at the end of your turn, at the end of your turn instead of the beginning. And it means that play is a lot faster because you haven't got anything to cloud your decision. You're not picking up cards and then thinking, what do I do? You've got the cards, you make your moves, and then you pick up at the end. So it's a little bit quicker. And we have all of the market condition cards in there. So all of the affect everyone global playing cards in there. And it makes the game go really crazy, but lots of fun. So you can definitely get a quick game that way as well.
Next up is Cheeseworks asking, are you considering expansion packs for Console Wars?
Yes, one of them is already in there as an expansion pack or DLC pack, as we're calling it, because, that's pretty thematic. 55 cards in that expansion pack that are a collection of entirely new IPs. If you look on the Kickstarter page, we've already shown some art for some of them, from Cattlefield, a first-person shooter game about cows, to I think Shelf Life is another one. We've got Alan Woke in there. There's a good joke for you, people that really freak out about the woke stuff. That's all in there. And if it's super popular, would we look to do more DLC packs? I would absolutely consider it. There's so much in gaming that you can celebrate. What if you had a deck of IPs that was purely focused on indie games? Like, why not? Why not do that? You never know. So yes, is the short answer. Sorry, I'm rambling.
Abdel114 asks, ever want to expand this to a digital trading card game version on iOS, Android, Steam? I want to play this online with people.
I will take that under advisement. Let's get this Kickstarter funded. Let's see if we can do that. It's trademarked, so that the design is ours, the name is ours. Let's see if we can make that happen for you guys. I would love it. I would genuinely love it to lean into game design and see this come to life digitally. There's so many ideas I already have for what this could look like. I would be very, very excited to make that happen. Let's see. Thank you.
Then Abdul again, is there a flip-flopper card? Guys that flip-flop from Xbox fanboys to becoming PlayStation fanboys.
There's a fanboy loyalty card, but maybe we should have a fanboy disloyalty card, right? I don't know quite how the rule I would think of that, but I'm always on the lookout for more amusing ideas for action cards. Like the problem you have is you don't want to affect the game balance too much. But I'm pretty confident I know like how far I can push things. So I'll bear that under advisement. That's not a bad idea.
Right, from Cheeseworks, hey John, you should send an early copy of the game to Hogue. He loves card games.
I know, and I am. Hogue is aware of Console Wars, the card game, and yes, I will be shipping. And on that note, if there are anyone watching from the gaming industry or anyone that obviously can help with coverage, etc., we have a number of prototypes that I will be shipping out to outlets, bar the ones we've got to keep, obviously, to make it playable at Gamescom. They will not ship in this box, this prototype box. We've only got 2 of these. They've got to come to Gamescom with us to let people get a kind of feel for the quality. They will ship as just cards with a manual. But yes, that should be with Hogue, hopefully, by the end of this week, and some others. But if you're interested, email us consolewarsgame.com, consolewars@xboxera.com, consolewarsgame@xboxera.com. Good Lord, I am all over the place. Sorry, it's been a very emotional day. But yeah, I'd love to see other influencers and YouTubers and media outlets' thoughts on this, because I think it's lots of fun.
Chipmunk 101, is there a Digital Foundry comparison card?
There's a how to word this. There is one that specifically like refers to Digital Foundry. I do have in my notes a card called Digital Boundary, but I think a lot of that played into one of the next gen upgrade perks that players can have, which is called media bias. Not saying that Digital Foundry, but I'm just talking about the general. Everyone's accusing all the other media, even XboxEra, you're all fanboys, all of that stuff, right, is there in the game in different forms. But there's not one that specifically calls out Digital Foundry in any particular way, no. Not a bad idea, though.
Peter Staub, how many copies have you printed to bring to Gamescom?
So, fun story, and this, I'm going to blame Predrag for this, because this is like, he was a shining knight in armor developing this. We initially had 14 decks printed with 2 boxed, right? So that's 16 in total. And when we got them, I was like, look at it, it's amazing. And then we noticed that when we were finally verifying all the cards, and this was more an art thing I didn't understand, Predrag had set the fan base cards to have a parent, and I'd noticed that the value was incorrect. I was like, hey, this needs correcting. And he didn't realize that it made that change on all of the fan base cards. So you've got fan base cards for like 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million fans, and all of them said 40 million in the top right. They do say 10, 20, 30, 40 in the middle, but as any card game player knows, that's not okay, because when you're holding a hand of cards, you're looking at the top right? That's like, it was part of the game. So we were like, oh crap, we can't go to Gamescom with this. So we had to speak to our publisher, and they had to do a reprint for us. So I've actually got 32 decks. So we'll have some of the faulty decks with the error we can explain to friends, like influencers and YouTubers will probably use those. We'll reserve the fully okay ones to go to bigger outlets, frankly. But yeah, whoops.
All right. Cypher Type 1. How far back did you go to pull the card ideas? Are there deep cuts from the Genesis SNES era or N64 PS1 Saturn eras?
Yeah, I think in general it covers the console wars era of Nintendo and Sega. You've got the classic IP featuring a spiky blue character called Phonic in there. You've got Barrio Bros. There's enough in there. Because we're very much sticking away from using anybody's registered trademarks or company names in any way, shape, or form. The challenge is with names like Nintendo and Sega, you can't they're not so easy to parody. Some games are really hard to parody.
Mm-hmm.
Man, trying to make a JRPG category was killing me. Like, frankly,
When there's just a lot of names, it's really tough. That's the name of game thing. Like, a lot of video games are just someone's name, and it makes it nearly friggin' impossible to do it.
But yeah, I think anyone even in the 80s that went through that, or 90s, I should say. God, I get my console eras wrong. They'll feel some of the different elements in there for sure.
I think Bob retweeted. From Selfish Burrito, how many players is the max? Presume it's not possible to play solo.
2 to 5 players. If you're going to play a 1v1, I would recommend playing it in frenzy mode and limiting the winning scenario to 3. But you can do it till 4 if you want a longer game. That's absolutely your call. But yeah, 2 to 5 players, average 30 to 40 minute games.
All right. From Jordan White, have you thought about different modes, specifically single player modes for people who have no friends to play with, like me?
It is definitely a multiplayer game. So we better pull the digital version out of the bag as soon as we can, right, Jordan? Then you can play on Xbox Live or something. I'd love to see it. But yes, no single player mode. Not something I've considered. But hey, if we get that as a frequent request, there's plenty of future left in what we do. There's lots of ideas on the table. There's other, like I said, I play a lot of card games. There's lots of other ideas that could be coming down the pipe. And I'd love to see them realized. And that's my point, I think. Like, when we do something like this, when Jesse and I talk about it, maybe making the difference between XboxEra as a company existing or not, this is something that it could be big. Like, I don't think it's egotistical of me to say that. I think that there is a quality card game here, and card gaming is massive. And if it's big enough to perhaps create and fund a business out of it, and then we still get to continue doing what XboxEra does in the sidelines while we carry on with those other items, right? So that's the hope, that's the dream. We've got 30 days to make that realized. I haven't even refreshed the Kickstarter page in the last, I'm going to have a look now because I haven't seen it. Well, bloody hell, it's 2,685, 53 backers so far. Let's go, champs. Like, we can do this. Let's see if we can smash this. We just need your help to do it. And if you love what XboxEra does, and if you want to see stuff like this on the regular, jump over to our Patreon. For as little as $3 a month, you can support this team. And trust me, if 1,000 of you do that, it's a big fucking deal. Like, it's a big deal to us. It makes the difference between life and death. So there you go. Next one.
Abdul asked, what's the price of backing?
For the standard version, this version, all the cards, it's 20 quid. So what's that? $25 US if you're in the US? About
26, it says here.
Okay, so yeah, so it's pizza. It's nothing crazy, right? It's not a super expensive product. We've got other versions with fancier things and DLC packs for a little bit more, but we're not in the hundreds of pounds or anything like that. We haven't done anything stupid from a tier perspective. Absolutely, if you can back it for 20 quid, back it for 20 quid. That's great. Please do. If you want more than one copy, if you want to gift them out, you just back them at double the price, so you just add the additional amount in. We'll figure it out on our end. Don't you worry.
Consummate moron. Tom Henderson is in the chat. Can you go through all the additions and the backer goals? I am confused.
Wow. That's a great question. Thank you, Mr. Henderson. So the way we wanted to do this Kickstarter is, instead of having all of these crazy tiers and seeing versions of the game for £100, it feels like a piss take. Guys, it's cards in a box, right? Let's not go absolutely nuts here. We wanted to make sure that we weren't like the last Kickstarter, 15 grand in debt at the end of it through shipping. So we've been very careful to set our goals accordingly and be able to, from A to B, get everything covered. So the way we looked at stretch goals was, we kind of looked at what we've done with XboxEra. We've got a community with our group that's on our Discord, that's on our forums, that interacts with us day in, day out, and helps keep us alive. and we've added stretch goals that come in as we hit backer targets. So as an example, we hit 1,000 backers, we're going to add that kickstarted card to the game. If we hit 2,500 backers, we will add an additional 3 market condition cards to the game. And we show them what they are, so you can see what you're getting. If we hit round 3, 5,000 backers, we'll add blank cards to the shipping products so that you can make up your own rules. Like people coming up with their own card ideas. That's the kind of thing I wish card games shipped with, because it pisses me off. I'm like, I wish there was a card that I could use. And having blank cards that you can just put a rule in with a dry white marker, go for it. And then they won't look weird in your deck because they look like the game. And then for the round 4, and that's if things go nuts, right? And that's just kind of like, this is a would be nice. If we get over 10,000 backers of this project, we'll start making things holographic and just go crazy with the printing process and start making cards shiny. And we'll work with the community. Like, hey, what do you want to see? Like, what versions should we make shiny? Like, what should we make fun here? So there's lots to look forward to, but it's all about sharing, frankly, sharing the Kickstarter, sharing the Twitter feed, everything you can to help us reach the goals and then smash past them as quickly as we can. We've got 30 days to make this a reality, and we just need your help to do it.
Right. And for the actual editions themselves, you have £20. You get the one Console Wars the Game Standard Edition. That's it.
Yep.
Then $26 US. Then for about $45 US, £35, you get Console Wars Standard Edition and DLC Pack, which features 55 new cards. And then the third and final edition is Console Wars Console Warrior Edition at £40 or about $52 US. You get special edition gorgeous hot foil box art and the DLC pack. So it's is it 1 or 2 copies? It's 1 copy of Console Wars, the card game, with the Console Warrior Edition look, and then you get the DLC pack with the 55 extra cards for a little bit more than the other one. So those are the
it's just
3
for the
editions.
fancy box.
Yeah,
it's nice and simple, and I can see. I've just seen it in the chat, but it's on the list, so we'll get to it in a sec.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to overkill it.
Hey,
and I don't want.
Normal just pledged $6 via the Patreon. Thank you, Gareth.
Appreciate you, bro. You keep independent sites like ours alive.
I'm going to add him
makes
to
a
the
big
list
difference.
right now. Gareth N. Boop. Yes, you're welcome, Tom. I know what you were asking for. John's a little flustered.
Yeah, I am totally all over the place. I've got so many tabs open and like freaking out that I need to be doing Twitter stuff and like but I'll come back in a sec. I need to obviously.
Next question from Abdel114: is there a third-person sad dad walking sim card? LOL.
I could tell you that there's a classic video game IP called God of Gore in there. Maybe that is the sad dad walking sim card. You'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
All right. Next one up is from Cypher Type 1 again. Did you make a Japanese version of Resident Evil called Hazardous Materials or Dangerous Goods? Because it was biohazard over there.
We had a lot of challenges with parody names. Like we were going to put Barry Trotter in there, but then I realized, wait, I've heard of that before. It's a book series that's already copyrighted and trademarked in the US, a parody of Harry Potter. And then I was like, J.K. Rowling kind of sucks. So, we'll just leave that one out.
And you need to get things that pre-drag could fit into the original look of things we were parodying, so they're very obvious. Because it can't be absolutely the original thing as long as it's different enough. And I think it's like, it can't be more than 25% of the original. And it isn't when you shift everything around. But you can have that overall silhouette that people are familiar with.
Exactly right. Like all of the artwork was all hand done by pre-drag in terms of the designs. Like there's no like they've taken this font and taken that font and just used them. The only one that we really closely emulated is Giant Theft Assault, because GTA Rockstar stole that font from The Price is Right back in the 70s. All right, let's just leave it there. But yeah, the funny story about that, we didn't do that with Resident Devil, which is the Resident Evil card. But we did originally we had Pocket Monsters as a third party like IP, right? Which obviously referring to that animal collecting franchise, right? But then I was like, wait, a little bit of research. Yeah, that's just what it's called in Japan.
Yes.
In English. Maybe not. So we've gone with Monster Pockets. Giant, deep pockets you can keep all the animals in and battle them in arenas. So, yeah, like there's some trickiness there. And look, I'd openly say to big companies that could sue us into oblivion, if you're watching and you're concerned or you want to send like some big scary cease and desist, one, I appreciate the publicity, and two, yeah, we can just pivot. Like it doesn't exist yet, so we can't really get in trouble, right? So that's the general mindset we're kind of rocking with.
All right. Next question from NC is, what's your personal favorite parody card?
Of IPs? Oh man, that is really tough. Do you know what? I'm gonna pull up a digital version because it's much easier for me to look at on our planning board. So give me a second. I think if I had to call one out, my personal favorite, it might be a close cross between Mood, just because this is such a cool T-shirt on its own.
If people
like,
could
look
buy
at the logo. Yeah, I will get round to fixing it. I'm doing this Q&A, man. Like, give me a break. I have a very large amount of fondness for The Rest of Us, which is a great one. I really, really love Hangout. I love You Died because it's not parodying any of the Dark Souls games, but it is parodying what happens in them, which I think is just really fun. One of my favorites, though, Counter Strafe is a great one. And one of the cheekiest ones, which might get us in some trouble, is Person A. Right? You can guess what game that is. Yeah. It's a person, A. Yeah. There's so much fun in there. I think the biggest call out I'd like to make in favorite cards, though, is when we did the classic. It's in all games. It's in Exploding Kittens. It's the nope card. Like, no, you can't do that, and you get that wonderful interaction of no, yes, and all of that. But we have cancelled, right? That's often a prevalent term in gamer culture, and general online culture nowadays. And originally it was game cancelled, but we've actually updated the deck, so now it's and that's in the version that's going to be at Gamescom. It's cancelled, but each one of them has a slightly different pun. So like one of them says the CG trailer is all that will ever be seen for this one. Another one says, oh, that tweet you made on social media 5 years ago was such a good idea at the time. Like it's all taking the mickey out of that kind of cancel talk and chit chat. So yeah, it's fun.
All right. Next one would be from MJ Dark. Does this game take advantage of the 12 teraflop flops lol?
No. takes advantage of 165 teraflops if we're lucky and we get it fully backed over thousands of backers. We'd love it, so let's make it happen.
All right, then we have DS Omen. Any PAX plans?
Not at this time, because frankly we have no cash to do this. Like, I cannot stress enough. Currently, like there's stuff coming in, but like currently it's looking very scary for me to still be doing XboxEra full time starting from September. So like this is really like, it's a big make or break for us. Let's see what happens. Like, and I don't say that to guilt trip you guys into backing it more. I definitely say it to try and persuade you. Like, if you really value what we do, support us on Patreon. It really does make a difference. We've got over 1,000 people in our Discord. We've got over 4,000 forum members. We've got over 34,000 followers on Twitter. And if just 1,000 of them bought a cup of coffee a day, it keeps the site alive. Just 1,000.
A cup of coffee a month.
I would, a cup of coffee a month. Yeah, sorry, what a misspeak. But I look at other patrons from other gaming Patreons, and I'm not criticizing anybody in particular, but like some of them are like, here's a podcast and here's a stream, and that's all they do. We've There's 3 podcasts a week. We do multiple game reviews. We review more games than most sites, and they usually have a video. Frankly, we're shit hot at what we do, and we know we are. We know we're good at this, and we're not this fanboy site because we've got Xbox in our name. We happen to provide an underserved audience with a focus of people that play on that platform, except Nick. He's a Nintendo fanboy. We know this. But yeah, like, support us on Patreon, man. That's the best way to keep us alive, like, without a shadow of a doubt. And back this.
And we've got a super chat, so that'll jump above. Fave part is that you have DLC that you could have put in the base game, but are charging for it just like a real game. Haha. Roll on stretch goals.
Absolutely, man. Like, the game is full of that. It's designed to make you laugh, make you smile, but then underneath the jokes, it's super addictive to just play because it can get very tactical, right? And I think that's the bit that people will discover, and that's the really hard part to communicate, which is why I'm looking forward to playtesting this, hopefully with media, hopefully with people. If you're coming Gamescom, you can come down and play this, and I will try and give you some guidance as to some of the sneaky things you can do to win, because it's not just about slapping IPs down as quick as you can. There's nuance to be had, and there's so many little ways that you can pull things in your favor. That's what I love about the game, and I think people will discover that the more they play. I'll try and keep going for as long as we can, but let's give us like 25 more minutes max, and then we'll call it, because I need to eat. I also need to do a lot of social media stuff right now.
Next one is from Casualty of Gamings. How sure are you about the shipping month of March 2025? I've backed a lot of Kickstarters, and they always get delayed.
Yeah, shipping was one of the biggest concerns, right? If you backed the XboxEra celebrating 20 years of Xbox book, lots of bad things happened. That was an extremely difficult time. Obviously, personally, was going through a divorce, might be losing my home, blah, blah, blah. There's bad timing for running a Kickstarter, and we had a global pandemic and war. And in between, the original, hey, this is where we want to ship it, and when we actually shipped, the prices had tripled, and it really, really hurt us. So when I say to you that the production times are what the production times are, you can be assured that we have put a lot of thought and careful planning with the various people that we are working with from a production perspective, and who we work with depends upon the volume of what we actually end up getting backed for, because there are different metrics that come into play. But to ensure smooth fulfillment and to ensure fairly reasonable pricing, is what we're doing is we're freighting to 2 separate fulfillment centers that specialize in board game shipping. Right, I can say you that much, and we're pretty confident. So unless this gets back to the tune of like 200,000, that would probably be a conversation. And I'm not saying it will, but if it's 200,000 copies, it's a bit of a different metric to bear in mind, right? And we'd probably have to provide a little update and be like, okay, this went nuts. We need to figure a lot of extra things out now because the production cycle in the factory is going to be a lot longer. So, predominantly if it stays modest, yes, 100%. Like, you'll get it in end of Q1 2025 at the worst. Yeah. That's the best answer I can give.
Abdul, is there a typical movie franchise game card, one that sells but are always bad?
Not specifically. There are lots of references to games that have become hit TV shows or movies in there. But no, nothing specifically on that front, like a bad game. I say that, actually, there is the Bomber card, which is often a reference used on forums for when a game comes out and then just flops or underperforms or whatever the case may be. And that allows you to play it against another player and just burn 2 cards at random out of their hand. It's very mean because you might be holding on to some very special cards that are really useful. And, there is also a consolidation card. Of course there is, where you can just steal a whole set from another player. That's always fun too. Buy your way to the top.
Dylan Plaisir. Xboxes, PlayStation, Nintendo. What console you like best?
Nintendo. Usually. No, I'm a big Nintendo fan. I appreciate that's a typo. Look, we're on XboxEra. we primarily play as a team on Xbox and PC. But I think across the team, lots of fans of console gaming, which is why we can make fun stuff like this. Like we built XboxEra to provide an underserved audience. That was who we felt was an underserved audience, a platform of a community place to congregate and discuss games without your usual horrible, toxic console wars nonsense. That's why we exist. But we play everything.
We're stuck with Nick, so we can only do so much of it, but we're trying.
Yeah.
All right. Next one is from Torn Raptor. The rear side of the card's art, are they what's depicted on the thumbnail video over on Kickstarter?
Yes. So the back of the cards, and I think anyone that plays card games to any degree would really appreciate this. And let me find one of each. So the standard back of the cards is completely symmetrical. So some cards can be flipped. They like have two different video game IPs on them, so they can be either or to help you complete sets, right? So when you've got a card that's symmetrically identical, this was Pre-Drag's idea. It doesn't matter if you flip it; people won't know like what you're looking at. You can like sometimes it like, and this is what I talk about getting tactical. I play with some seriously tactical people at this. You'll watch people, and if they get a card in their hand, and if they do that, you're like, okay, that might be a dual card. So you kind of keep that in your mind. So there's those. We have the next gen upgrades. These sit on your side, so they are separated out. There's 20 of these. There's fanboy loyalty there, and they give you perks with which you can kind of use to help you. They're just little things. They're little niceties. There's nothing that's going to break the game. And then you have what we call market condition cards. So these will go into the normal deck. So they'll just appear. Big exclamation mark. You've got to play this now. It affects everybody. You play it, you resolve it, and then you carry on with the game. And there's all sorts of effects. There's a Leroy card in there. It's all fun. Hope that answers Torn Raptor. Thank you.
Ophelia Payne. Will the Mood shirt be coming back to the merch shop? And Fork Knight would love to grab some gifts.
Yes, I will be working on that as soon as we're done here with the Q&A. I am very annoyed with our Teespring stores provider. They were there 3 hours ago.
Another question about that is, does buying the apparel merch help the Kickstarter out? Which I think I could answer as not the Kickstarter itself, but no. XboxEra, yes.
Yeah, it definitely helps us out. Like it's a couple of bucks. And like, I'll be honest with you, we don't make a huge amount per t-shirt because who wants to buy? Like, I could set the t-shirt price to $35, but you would look at it and go, "Fuck you, John." So there isn't this massive profit jump.
Yeah,
it's like $5 a shirt for us.
Things that can help. Kickstarter #1, tied with Patreon, but for now, Kickstarter #1, just above Patreon. Then like buying shirts and PayPal and all that other stuff that we've got. Tom Henderson asking, when is the Mood design going in the store? JK.
Tom, I'm as frustrated as you, my man. Like I've added that 8 times. I am very, very cross with the Teespring store right now. Let me work on it.
Didact, are there 90+ Metacritic / OpenCritic references?
Yes, there is an action card you can play called a Metacritic Marvel, and it makes you immune because you've released such an excellent game. It makes you immune from other people stealing fans from you for one turn. So yes, there is absolutely a little riff on Metacritic and the obsession with 90 green boxes.
Andy W320, did you ever see anyone correctly guess the hashtag secret project correctly in chat when you've been talking about it on stream over the last few months?
No. And that was so much fun. The closest someone came is 30 seconds before it premiered. Zach Riley, who is a YouTube member and I think a patron, said in the chat, I wonder if it's going to be like something crazy. Like, I can't remember exactly what he said. It was something board game. And I was like, oh, he's close. But yeah, no one guessed it. And that was really fun. And a big shout out and a big thank you to we did let in a few of the patrons, some of the long-term patrons that have been around for a while and really been there from day one, in on the ground floor, and kind of gave them a sneak peek to get feedback like, hey, is this nuts? And the reaction from everybody was resoundingly positive. So big thank you to them as well for keeping it secret for like 4 or 5 weeks. We love you. That
Viking gamer, please say you have an Xbox tax card.
Well, so that's the thing. We wouldn't call it the Xbox tax, but there is a media bias card that you can have as a next gen upgrade perk to help your platform specifically as you're battling the others. That reduces the number of fans you lose when you're, people try and steal them from you. So yeah, it's referenced in there, but we have to be very careful not to put this. And by the way, I do want to call out, I did get the opportunity to show this directly to Phil Spencer in LA when I was there, and he chuckled profusely. So hopefully no suing. But yeah, there you go.
And then we have from some unbelievably pretty, beautiful lady named Amanda Van Paris. What is the closest game you can compare this to, like Uno, etc.?
I would say, like, big fans of Monopoly Deal would absolutely gel with this. Like, it's fair to say that the properties mechanic is very similar, but we have a number of different tweaks on that. But yeah, if you're a big Monopoly Deal fan, you'll find this very, very comfortable to play, and honestly, way more interesting. I love Monopoly Deal, but it's a far more complex game to play with a lot more tactical differences and cool things that happen.
All right. Jesper from Copenhagen. Congrats on launching the Kickstarter. Are you going to be shipping from fulfillment centers out of the UK or mainland Europe?
Currently planned UK and US. If things go absolutely nuts, and we get into the crazy numbers, and God, I wish that happens. If we get into the crazy numbers, that's a conversation. It might be a case that we look at it and go, makes sense to actually have 3 fulfillment centers here and do things slightly differently. But current plans are, if it's modestly successful, UK and US fulfillment centers. I hope that helps. Thank you.
Right.
And thank you, Amanda, for the question as well.
We got one more from Torn Raptor. It is, if I buy any of them, John, after Gamescom, will I have double, or will I safely be able to buy any of those shirts?
Torn, I'll see you at Gamescom, buddy. I will definitely be helping you out, my man. Don't you worry. You wouldn't have all of them, but you'll definitely have a gift in hand for all of your help and support over the last few years. I know we've given you a lot of merch over the last 4 years or however long the Patreon's been going anyway. But yes, I do have a little present for you.
That's it. That's all the questions.
Blimey, boom, we got there at the end. There's one more. Senya Bean, is there dice? No, it's cards only. There's no bits, there's no pieces, there's nothing for kids to choke on. It is just cards, beautifully designed in a beautiful, gorgeous box. And we absolutely want you to back it. Kayasante the Chip, big shout out. Back the Kickstarter, folks. He won when we play tested this out in LA with my hand-drawn deck. Kay won the game and he was delighted in the hotel lobby in LA. So it was really good fun. But yes, I think that will draw this Q&A to a close. I've got to clearly prioritize getting that Mood t-shirt back on the digital store, on the t-shirt store. A big thank you, like so many of you that I'm recognizing names from our supporters and people in the community that were in that live stream and watching that reveal. Like, thank you. Like, you've made such a big difference. And I really, really hope that together as a community, we can make this a massive success, because it could make the difference between XboxEra living on as it is or limping along in kind of like, I work 2 jobs now mode. So let's see how we fare. We need to look after Jesse too. So please back it. If you love what we do, consider supporting us on Patreon via patreon.com/XboxEra. We will embed this Q&A into the Kickstarter story just as an update for folks, because we're off to a flying start. Let's check out one last time before we close this Q&A out. Wow. We're over £3,000 funded for our 20K goal. That is pretty freaking impressive. Keep going, people. Let's make this happen. Share it with your friends. If you know a gamer, I guarantee you they'll probably want to play this. It's a great Christmas present. Like, go nuts. Let's make this happen. Jesse, thank you so much for joining me for this hour of me mostly rambling and reading all the questions. We'll be back for the podcast as per usual on Saturday, but tomorrow it's headlines. This is probably going to be the biggest headline. We'll be back with more updates on the Kickstarter.
You're going to get annoyed at how much we have to promote this, because we really...
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. But We love you. We'll
Yeah,
talk
we
normal
got this
gaming
look.
news too.
I got the podcast looking like this too. It'd be very, very vaporwave for a bit. But thank you, John.
30 days, baby. Let's make this happen.
All right.
And with that, ciao for now. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Ever since the first gaming consoles came into being, there has been a war. Not just between the platform holders and the video game publishers that support them, but between the fans too. It wages across school playgrounds, internet forums, and social media. Endless wars and constant comparisons between the platforms, the games, and development teams result in a permanent tug of war for one platform holder to come out on top, bringing their dedicated fan base glory and victory. But in reality, no one has ever been able to truly win. Until now. This is Console Wars, the card game. Now you and your friends can fight on the front lines, battling for incredible franchises and intellectual property, exclusivity, and eventual victory. Collect incredible video game franchises. Protect them with loyal and dedicated fans. Brave the volatile video game industry. Claim the ultimate victory in the console wars. Your platform holder needs you. Enlist today on Kickstarter.